In the wilderness, the honey badger moves slowly, observing and waiting for the moment to strike unexpectedly. Not relying on size or speed, it closes in at very short distances, forcing its opponent to react in a split second. These encounters don't last long because of strength, but end when the reaction time is disrupted and there's no chance of turning the tables. From jungles to deserts and even shallow waters, snakes appear in many different environments, adapting with their ability to hide and react quickly. Some species climb trees, others move across hot sand or hunt near water sources. They rely on a split-second, precise strike, and that very moment opens the door to confrontation. On the grassland, the honey badger spotted a snake and stopped to observe, maintaining a distance to assess its position. It lowered its body, circling around, forcing the snake to turn in rhythmic movements. When an opening appeared, the honey badger suddenly accelerated, rapidly shifting from observation to a direct confrontation. The tense standoff ensued as both continuously shifted positions, but the relentless pace made it difficult for the snake to maintain a stable distance. The honey badger maintained pressure through persistence, forcing its opponent to react repeatedly and gradually lose its advantage, thus shifting control decisively to the one who initiated the attack, and the situation quickly came to a close. In the African savanna, lions live in expansive environments with abundant food sources and ample space for group hunting. Some populations exist in dry forests or scrublands, while Asian lions are adapted to the Indian forests. This helps them maintain their predatory position, while also creating opportunities for conflict. In the middle of the savanna, two honey badgers encounter two approaching lions, creating tension from the very beginning. Instead of retreating, the honey badgers lower their bodies, hold their positions, and observe the lions' reactions, forcing them to back down. The cautious approaches gradually turn into a tense standoff. The lions repeatedly approach to apply pressure, but are met with fierce resistance, causing the attack rhythm to become unstable and momentum to stall. The honey badgers hold their positions, using their tenacity and quick reflexes to avoid being overwhelmed. Ultimately, the lions retreat, and control changes hands. In this type of encounter, the outcome depends on controlling distance and maintaining a consistent pace of pressure over time. When one side fails to impose its own tempo, the advantage erodes gradually, and when the initiative changes, control rarely returns to its original state. In a variety of environments, from rainforests to savannas and even near populated areas, leopards adapt flexibly thanks to their ability to hide and hunt alone. They can stalk for a long time before striking in seconds, and often drag the carcass of their prey up trees to prevent it from being stolen, which sometimes makes them easy targets. Hidden in the bush, the honey badger spotted a leopard approaching and maintained a cautious distance. It circled, forcing its opponent to constantly adjust its position, then suddenly closed in when an opening appeared, putting itself under pressure. The confrontation quickly escalated as the leopard lost its rhythm in the face of the intermittent close-range attacks. The honey badger constantly changed angles, closing in low and reacting quickly, using its thick skin to withstand the impact. Ultimately, the leopard retreated, and control shifted. In this type of encounter, the advantage lies not in the first strike, but in maintaining the pace of approach. When distance is controlled, opportunities for a quick counterattack narrow, and from that moment on, the chance of retaining the advantage is almost non-existent. In the African savanna and semi-deserts, hyenas thrive in hot, dry conditions, well adapted to limited water resources and ample space. Some species travel in packs, others operate alone, but all rely on coordination and endurance. This adaptable lifestyle allows them to proactively approach unpredictable targets. At the edge of the forest, a honey badger encountered a pack of hyenas foraging and immediately stopped to observe. Instead of avoiding them, it held its position, turning in various directions, forcing its opponents to probe. As the distance narrowed, the honey badger suddenly closed in, constantly changing direction to apply pressure, pushing the situation into a stalemate. The situation quickly escalated as repeated approaches were thwarted by the honey badger's quick and decisive reaction. The honey badger maintained close proximity, using its tenacity to force its opponents to retreat step by step. Eventually, the hyenas slowed their approach and left. Control remained with the one standing firm. In such situations, the outcome doesn't come from numbers or initial strength, but from the ability to hold its position under pressure. When the pace of approach is broken, the advantage gradually diminishes. And when one side can no longer maintain pressure, and when the rhythm has been broken, the outcome rarely changes. Along rivers, lakes, and swamps, crocodiles live hidden in still water environments where the line between safety and danger is difficult to discern. They don't hunt by chasing but wait for the opportune moment, launching a quick and decisive attack when prey gets close. This hunting style puts them at a disadvantage when forced to confront their prey on land. At the water's edge, the honey badger spotted a young crocodile on the shore and stopped to observe, circling around to gauge its reaction. It maintained distance, forcing the crocodile to turn in various directions, then suddenly accelerated, closing in directly and cornering it. The confrontation was swift, as the crocodile lost its ability to maintain a stable reaction angle on land. The honey badger constantly shifted direction, staying low and applying pressure from multiple angles, preventing the crocodile from maintaining a steady reaction. Ultimately, the young crocodile was caught, pulled away from the water's edge, and became its meal. From then on, the battle ended with no possibility of reversal. On the African savanna grasslands, wild dogs live in packs and roam across vast spaces to hunt. They rely on speed, coordination, and long-distance running to maintain an advantage. This group hunting style often leads them to try to control their target with constant pressure from multiple directions. In the middle of the savanna, two honey badgers encountered two moving wild dogs. Instead of retreating, they held their ground, adjusting their stance in every direction, forcing their opponents to assess each move. As the distance narrowed, the honey badgers accelerated, shifting from defense to direct pressure. The wild dogs' approaches were quick but inconsistent against the decisive response. The honey badgers maintained a close pace, constantly changing direction to disrupt their coordination and force them to retreat. Eventually, the wild dogs left, and from that point on, control was no longer challenged. In dense forests, swamps, and riverbanks, pythons survive by their ability to hide and their physical strength rather than their venom. Widely distributed across Africa, Asia, and Australia, they often lie still near water sources, waiting for prey to pass by. This ambush hunting method creates a decisive moment, thus initiating a confrontation. In a clearing near the edge of the forest, the honey badger spotted a python and stopped to observe, gradually closing the distance. It circled, changing its approach angle to force the python to adjust its position. When a gap opened up, the honey badger suddenly closed in, turning the situation into a defensive one. A tug-of-war ensued as the python tried to maintain a defensive posture with its body. But the relentless approach caused it to lose the initiative, making it difficult to maintain control. The honey badger maintained pressure and prevented the python from stabilizing. Ultimately, the python was overwhelmed. And from that point on, the situation quickly took shape, demonstrating the disparity created during the initial close-range approach. The most striking commonality is the honey badger's ability to observe, approach closely, and maintain pressure in each encounter. The key takeaway lies in controlling distance and disrupting the opponent's reaction. Not sheer strength alone, which determines the outcome. And once the initiative is established, the chances of a reversal are virtually non-existent. In nature, results don't come from a single moment, but from how distance and timing are controlled. Confrontations don't begin with speed, but with observation, patience, and waiting for the right opportunity. Every small deviation in reaction can change the entire course of events in seconds. And when the decisive moment arrives, the outcome is almost predetermined. In a quiet space, a pack of hyenas maintains distance and observes. They adjust their position according to the pack's signals and are ready to retaliate at the slightest disturbance. This steady rhythm of movement helps maintain the bond between individuals. This mechanism forces any approach to be cautious, and thus a calculated stalking phase begins to form. This stability is broken when an accelerated movement cuts across the maintained distance. The distance shortens rapidly. The lions pounce unexpectedly, choosing the weaker individual and clinging with the goal of ending the fight quickly. In the initial moment, the captured individual reacts with limited force. Soon after, the reactions from the other individuals occur almost simultaneously. They turn, surround, and move in circles, applying pressure from multiple directions. The continuous harassment weakens the hold. The lions are subjected to multi-directional pressure, lose their position, and are forced to release their target, then retreat. This development illustrates the clear difference between individual pressure and coordinated group response. One side relies on bursts of speed and short-range engagement. The other relies on coordinated group action and continuous pressure. When pressure comes from multiple directions simultaneously, the initial advantage quickly disappears. A jaguar moves slowly and discreetly in an area with limited visibility. Its hunting instincts rely on ambushes, short bursts of speed, and precise timing. It maintains distance and avoids revealing its position before acting at close range. However, when two individuals appear in the same space, the likelihood of encounter increases, and a confrontation gradually develops. After identification, both move to close-range direct contact. The distance is rapidly reduced when one individual takes the initiative to advance. The two lunge briefly to test each other's reaction. Attacks are brief, consisting of bites and pushes, then quickly cease. The level of contact decreases when one individual takes the initiative to retreat. It creates distance and does not continue to maintain pressure. The other individual maintains its position and does not pursue, avoiding unnecessary risk. The confrontation ends when both stop escalating the pressure. The outcome is determined by the timing of one side's cessation. Both are ambush predators capable of inflicting damage at close range. When there is no clear advantage, Refraining from further attack helps limit losses. This is a confrontation based on risk assessment and choosing the right moment to stop.
Fighting.
At the edge of their territory, a pack of wild dogs maintains distance and moves in groups. The hunting instincts of wild dogs rely on coordination and a clear division of roles among individuals. They take turns participating, maintaining the rhythm of the chase and constantly supporting each other. However, when there are young, the level of vigilance is uneven, and this creates an opportunity for an outside approach. The stability is broken when a rapid movement appears from the edge of the territory. The distance is shortened in a very short time. The lion rushes in at high speed, without warning, and chooses the weakest individual in the pack's territory. When it gets close enough, it latches on to control the target from the outset.
Fighting.
The decisive moment arrived when the lion realized it no longer controlled the distance. The lion retreated toward the shore, and the gap widened. On land, the lion still had a chance. In the water, the hippo maintained almost absolute control. The crucial point lay in the shift from land to water. In that change, the lion realized it was in the wrong environment and the balance of power was gone. This case illustrates that the outcome depends on the timing of the approach. One side used speed and surprise to gain an advantage from the start. The other relied on cooperation, but this was not sustained when gaps appeared. When a successful approach is made quickly, the outcome is determined rapidly. In areas with low vegetation, the python remains immobile and blends into its surroundings. Its predatory instinct relies on ambush and close-range reactions. The bite is used to establish contact and quickly transitions to forming a constricting loop. The distance is shortened as the leopard approaches and chooses the right angle. Upon impact, the python delivers a bite and begins to coil its body to constrict. The leopard reacts immediately by biting, scratching, and twisting to break free from the constriction. The outcome is decided in the first few seconds before the constriction is complete. The leopard creates space and escapes before being completely immobilized. It then counterattacks, preventing the python from constricting a second time. When faced with pressure in the wild, African buffalo maintain their position at close range. Their bodies, which can exceed 1,500 pounds, help them absorb force and maintain balance. Their thick shoulders and strong neck allow them to turn without losing control. This stability forces any threat to be cautious, and thus a calculated approach phase begins to form. The safe space begins to shrink as an individual moves purposefully closer. The distance shortens. The lion accelerates briefly and closes in on its target. When close enough, it latches onto the prey and enters a holding phase. The buffalo reacts immediately, kicking and turning repeatedly to break the hold. The pressure builds as the initial approach phase doesn't end quickly. The buffalo remains standing, prolonging the time. The herd advances, creating counter-pressure. The lion had to adjust and temporarily retreat, but there wasn't enough time. The buffalo collapsed before any support could change the outcome. From the entire process, the situation was shaped by how each side prolonged or broke the confrontation. One side relied on persistent holding and individual strength. The other relied on endurance and herd support. When time ran out, support was no longer possible to reverse the already established outcome. In areas with dense foliage, leopards move low and maintain distance when approaching. Their hunting instincts rely on short bursts of speed and precise timing. Each step is controlled to minimize detection. However, moving into unfamiliar territory can lead them into lion territory, creating a risk of confrontation. Distance begins to spiral out of control as the leopard ventures deeper into the area. Lions detect them almost immediately and charge at high speed. Multiple individuals approach simultaneously, splitting in direction to create pressure from multiple sides. The distance narrows rapidly, forcing the leopard to react in a very short time. Pressure increases as multiple approaches are established at the same time. The leopard is cornered and unable to climb to a higher position. Attacks are concentrated on the neck and back, forcing it to retreat injured, even after escaping. The risk persists due to injuries that impair mobility. This situation is determined by the moment one's position is exposed within the lion's territory. Leopards rely on speed and precise approach. Lions rely on numbers and quick reflexes within their territory. Once detected in this area, the chances of maintaining an advantage are almost non-existent. An impala maintains a steady pace in open areas and constantly observes its surroundings. Its survival instinct relies on quick reactions, sudden changes of direction, and maintaining distance from potential threats. It doesn't stand still for too long and is always ready to accelerate upon detecting any unusual signs. However, when the distance narrows unnoticed, danger begins to build. The leopard remains completely still within its cover and restricts all movement. It controls its breathing, keeps its gaze fixed, and waits for the target to approach. When an impala crosses its safe zone, the leopard lunges out with high acceleration over a short distance. The short distance doesn't give the prey enough time to react, and the approach phase occurs almost instantaneously. The outcome is determined in seconds, as the impala doesn't have time to adjust its initial direction. The leopard maintains its approach distance and controls the target from the very beginning. The deciding factor isn't top speed, but the initial distance. When the prey gets too close without realizing the danger, the outcome is practically predetermined. No species always holds the advantage in every situation, and each confrontation depends on the specific context. Distance, timing, and initial reaction determine the course of the entire event. Strength is only effective when used at the right time and under the right conditions. And in nature, the outcome is always predetermined before the final moment occurs.